Before we answer some questions, we will briefly say still points. Still points. Still points are available to all of you at any moment. That may seem strange because, of course, there are times in your life where you will be very far from a still point. Perhaps you are in an evident crisis in your life, or perhaps you are in a place where you are feeling bombarded by life itself, and yet the still point is available within you. Many of you will notice you are in a still point through your mental or psychological awareness of that. But the truth is, the still point actually happens a little between your heart chakra and your navel, your belly button. It is a little lower than the heart chakra where the still point exists. And it is actually in the heart that the still point is most felt in the body. Your mind, your thoughts may become aware that you are stilling. You are able to come to a point of silence and stillness. It is from stillness that all potentiality can occur, meaning if you can bring yourself to stillness and to a still point, you are able to create. You are able to forge ahead. You are able to take a moment to allow your soul to catch up with your human. Can you relate to that need? The need for your soul to catch up with your human. The momentum that your human might be in, the experiences your human might be having. It's very easy for the soul power to get drawn out into all of these smaller experiences. And yet, your still point is something that the more you practice arriving at it, the more soul-led you become. The more non-negotiable about this you become. So, what puts you into your still point? Do you know? Is it a certain song? Is it a certain chair or spot in your home? Is it a certain view that you see in the outside world or an area of nature? How can you practice finding more and more of these still points as you go through your day? And in fact, we would argue that on the busiest days of your life, the still points are so much more necessary as a practice. So, we may have time to say a few more words at the end, but it is important today that we speak directly to your questions because we need a little engagement with you as a community in a direct fashion. And the facilitation of these questions from your community is an opportunity for us to not just directly answer the questioner, but instead to find elements of the question that relate to a large number of you. So, let's begin. Thank you.
Thank you, Ziz. First question reads, I'm a longtime follower of yours and am grateful for all you have shared. With all the chaos that is going on, I feel like I'm starting the best time of my life, even though I'm more than halfway through it. Is that possible? I feel goodness is coming, and not just for me, but I feel kind of bad in the midst of all the worldwide suffering to feel good. Any thoughts or help on this from you or the Z's would be so appreciated.
The challenge of this time. The challenge of this time is, and we did speak to this, as Lee has reminded, back in 2016. We said that as you navigate this period of 2017 to 2024, one of the greatest challenges for many of you light workers was going to be allowing yourselves to rise in your own experience of life without guilt or feeling bad that at times your brothers, sisters, and other souls on the planet might be going through challenges. Now, this is very like life. You can be having a very satisfying, or shall we say, celebratory time in your own personal life, and some of your nearest and dearest might be going through great challenge. This is the complexity and the multidimensionality of being human. You are all going through different things at different times. But when you have someone who is struggling, it is vibrationally very good for them that you are not. It is vibrationally very good for them that you are doing well and you are strong and robust, even if you do not tell them what's going on in your life because it wouldn't be appropriate, or they don't have the capacity to ask you those questions, or it doesn't feel pertinent. The fact that you are galvanized helps them immensely. So it is not only okay that you are having the best time of your life in many ways, and we understand that this pertains to your consciousness and your awareness, which is the best part of being human. If you can be a conscious, aware human, you have won the lottery, as some of you would put it, in terms of being alive. Whereas the truth is, winning the lottery on a human level, as much as it is craved and desired by many, it can be its own can of worms and problems too. Consciousness and awareness, when developed, do not bring you that level of problem. Now, some of you like to say, oh, I wish I was more asleep. It would make it all easier. And we would say, no, 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 no. That's simply not true. All that you need to do is keep working through the layers of consciousness that you are moving up through. Because the more aware and conscious you become, you do not leave the love or the compassion in your heart for others who are struggling. But equally, you do not think that that means that you are supposed to jump down into the hole with them. You have understood that you are doing the best you can by being strong enough to hold them when they need an arm to put down into the hole and help them climb out. So, as we have said, the reason that many of you are finding your purpose in these times is multi-fold, but we will say this. For many of you, you were built to help. You were built to help. Some of you do this through things you create. You aren't necessarily the one who wants to sit there at a party listening to everyone crying, but you are the one who is capable of building something that will help them, that will give them a place to go. Or you might be the person who wants to sit there listening to everyone crying because that's your purpose. And you see that as your job, and you're quite fine in that. And it doesn't bring you down. In fact, it's your design. Your design is to be the butterfly that flies from person in sorrow to person in sorrow and just gives them a light touch, a little love, a little hug. So you see, because the world is in what we would call a reckoning phase when it comes to people waking up to their consciousness, people are being challenged to no longer believe in what was, in many ways. Not just systems of government, although that is one of them, but many ways, many aspects of your planetary life that you were never asked to consider or invited into considering, you are beginning to have to, and that will continue as the years go on. So there is an awakening. There is an awakening happening. And as that awakening is happening, it makes a lot of you feel somewhat better. Not necessarily that challenge or struggle or darkness is part of that. No, those things do not please you. They do still impact you. But you do understand that your rise in purpose is in tandem with the amount of people who need help with galvanizing their own awakening. So the reason that so many of you are doing better than you've ever done, even in these times where if you asked most people on the planet, is this the best time on earth? Most people will say no. Most people will go back in time. Yet the truth is, if you go back in time, there were problems then too. One of the greatest challenges you have is to accept the present without thinking it's worse than the past or that the future will be better. Very difficult for many of you. It's why so many who get into spirituality, until they do the deep work on their own personal healing, they want to live in the projection of the future because they don't like the present and the past. But you have to learn to reclaim your present energy from the past. That's what healing does for you. You go back and you reclaim those parts of you that got a little knotted up, and they become new present life.